pass this one with you. I hear you have something exciting coming up.
I guess so.
You do.
I think we have a segment.
Okay.
It's like Blake's segment, but less angry.
Oh, okay.
It's called Ponder with Colin.
Oh, okay,
We're
nice.
gonna have a fireside chat because I think we have like 45 minutes before
That was a very fast game, for sure.
That's what happens when Kano's there. So
A lot of
yeah,
pondering going to happen.
So,
I love
yeah.
the edit.
yeah,
Beautiful.
it looks like me when I'm thinking about stuff. I
Oh,
just
100%.
I just
Out there
gazing off, kind of
brooding.
smiling to myself. It's kind of cocky, but you know it's okay. I'm probably feeling insecure about myself. So let's jump
all
right
good.
in.
What are we pondering today?
We are talking about 2 token slots
Okay.
in draftable sets.
Okay.
So here's my thought, or here's the basis of this thought, and then we'll talk about it.
All right.
It just seems like, okay, they fixed one thing. Fab 2.0, we get cold foils in the token slot.
Correct.
So drafting for value, out the door, great job there.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have 14 draftable cards in a 16-card pack. And that feels bad. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
You want it to be, what, 15?
I missed that one extra
With
card.
one extra card?
Yeah.
That was the slot?
Yeah.
I could see it. In a draft set, I could see what you're talking about. You want to have that one extra slot for the rare or for a carnival slot, as James White would call it, that something a little more that can make your deck a little spicier.
Like, I just opened a case between the last couple of rounds because you guys were casting and I was bored and I had a case. And I have, like, hundreds of tokens
Hundreds.
that they're trash. Like, they're just,
Yeah.
like, if you're opening packs, they're just straight trash. And that feels bad.
Yes, okay, I understand. Like a waste of cardboard. Because
It's a waste of cardboard.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then in a draft scenario, you have, you know, when you open, let's see, there's 8 people. There, one extra card is a token, 3 packs. What is that? 24 cards that could be in your deck that are not.
That's true. Have you ever experienced a draft where you didn't have enough tokens for everybody?
Maybe, but
Maybe.
like,
So there might be some reasoning why they did this.
but you could just flip a card backwards and say this is this token. Like
You could just.
it's more of like an understanding of what a card
Okay.
does than like, oh no, my whole game's ruined because I don't have this one token. You know, it's like,
Okay, that's fair.
and especially if you're at a store, they usually have a bunch of tokens. Like unless it's like the very first time the set's drafted. So, and I guess for like kitchen table, I could see it too, but that to me that doesn't seem like the best reason because I think it affects every level of draft play all the way up to like professional.
And if you're at a kitchen table, you could just print it, or I could use
That's
my
right.
phone.
You
or
just write it down on a piece of paper,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
you could do that at your game store. You're just like,
Exactly.
okay, yeah, this is my spider's bite. It does this. Okay, cool. Everyone knows what it does.
Yep.
It's a token. You're legally allowed to have it. There's nothing weird about it. But that's, I don't know. I just thought it's been feeling weird since Uprising.
No, I think I see your reasoning. I get it. It's an extra slot. Like I said, you can use it, you can scribble a little piece of paper. You can tell your opponent this is what this is. They didn't have it. Sorry. That extra slot could have been used for a common or a rare.
It should be a rare. After
Should
opening
be a
some
rare.
one rare packs, that sucks. One rare
pack. Yeah, that is rough. So
Actually, I
take
think we had a no rare pack. I opened a pack that had no rares in it, which I didn't think was possible, but that's what happened. So I don't know. It feels like we've we found ourselves in where we solved one problem and made up a new one.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I don't know. I'm not even the best draft player, but I think I've noticed it. Like there's just a slimmer margin where you're not going to see as many cards. So if you make a bit of a mistake, draft, one too many hate cards, or pivot, you just get hard punished, it feels like.
I see your reasoning. I think I'll come to your light on this one. I'll say we don't need that extra token in there. It's fun, it's flavorful.
Yeah.
But it's wasteful. It's 100% wasteful. And
I'd be fine with 2 tokens, but put that extra card back in there. It's a 17 card pack.
Okay.
Which probably has just cascading amounts of problems for packaging. But that's not my problem. I'm just a guy here.
Just the idea guy.
Yeah,
that's what they pay him for.
Spitting stupid things out. But yeah, just something I've been thinking about. So
okay, I think I like. I see
all right, I've convinced you. So we're done. We'll just move on to the next
pondering thing that you've been thinking about all week.
I mean, I think about these things all the time. I stay up late at night, just like, what do I do with the second token slot now?
Restless.
It's just something I like noticed and was like, huh, it feels not great, especially when I just threw away 100. Because a case is 96 packs. You're
Yes.
basically throwing away, 192 cards.
Just recycle them, but yeah.
But they have that black core. You can't recycle.
Can't recycle that?
I don't
Oh.
think you're going to recycle. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can recycle the cards because of the black core inside of them is not actually recyclable, and it's actually, I think it's plastic, to be honest.
So just extremely wasteful.
I'm pretty sure. I'd be happy to be wrong. Let's see. They send token packs with the new draftable sets now. There you go.
There you go. That fixes the issue. Gets the store stocked up.
We don't need it.
Yeah.
The thing I can see, to play my own devil's advocate here, is that second token keeps the cold foil safe because it's not on the outside.
They're never safe in paper packs. They're never safe in paper packs. I promise. Okay, there you go. Producer says that Magic doesn't come with all the basic lands you need to play. Those are
little
given
game.
from the store.
I just heard about this game, Magic: The Gathering.
Okay.
They don't give you enough stuff to play the game.
Yeah,
That's what someone just told me.
Yeah, they need extra support. So take out the extra token slot. We don't need those. Actually, you can take out probably maybe both. Just send this token separate.
I mean, that could be it. But you do need that cold foil slot. So, that's the thing. You need it to be a token slot so that the cold foil is just yours when you draft and not something you have to draft.
Gotcha.
I like that bit. I think that makes sense, and I think it's a good thing. But I think it's just created this weird spot where we're missing a card, and I miss it every day. Next topic. Let's go, Justin. Boom. New player products.
Okay.
Let me ask you. Have you introduced Flesh and Blood to a lot of new players?
Yeah.
Like, personally?
Personally, I have talked to new players. I've given them cards.
No. Like, have you been like, yo, person I know from regular life, I'm going to teach you about this game. I'm going to show you this game and play some of it with you. Have you done that?
In regular life?
Yeah.
Not anyone necessarily super close to me because all my close friends play card games and play Flesh and Blood already. But
that's the other problem,
yeah. But sometimes I try to convince my girlfriend. Not always quite there, but I'll get through one time.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe I'll use the new player products.
Well, okay. So, side note, I was very excited. I got my wife to play the Ira decks when it first came out during the pandemic, and she was like, cool, let's play that again. And she never wants to play like a board game like again right afterwards. So I was like, let's.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately I was like, okay, and now these starter decks have equipment. She was like, no, this is too complicated. And I was like,
equipment always throws a wrench in things.
I was just
like they stay on the board. You can use them.
They just sit there. You can look at them. No, it was too.
People get confused.
To be fair, she wouldn't have gotten into the deck building, and it would have been too much for her wanting to play more casually. But I digress. So, I tried to show like a coworker how to play. We do board game nights sometimes. Some people bailed. It was just me and him. I was like, oh, I brought these blitz decks with me.
Yeah.
Starter Monarch blitz decks.
Nice. Easy.
I go into the pitch on how you play this game. It's a complicated game at its base.
Yeah.
You got resources. You got attack value. You got defense value. You have a reaction step. You got a defense, all these things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, also, here's a soul. This is phantasm.
Yep.
This is this. And I was like, I feel like a crazy person, and you don't really. I'm like, well, we'll just play because you're not going to really get it.
Yeah, you try to explain it in depth.
And he's sitting there, he's like, I can kind of see why this is cool, but also this was a lot and kind of weird, and and I was just like, these are a bad starting place for this game.
The blitz decks, especially the sets that are like talented blitz decks, so Monarch and Tales of Aria, are way more complicated for players to understand.
Which are only, and Uprising, because
Uprising is less talented. There's no less talented. It's more, they kind of does it all for you.
That's true, but they're pretty complicated when you got, Ash and Dragons.
Yeah,
and,
you got the token layers. It just makes it a little more complicated. So you'll make up for it in other tokens. So the sets that are talented heroes seem to be definitely more complicated for people to learn on.
Yeah.
But sets like Classic Battles or WTR, where it's just trading, just physical damage, that seems to be the easiest way to intro people because then you don't have to explain another layer of things.
That's true. So, yeah, I think Classic Battles is like a pretty good step in a direction. We haven't seen a follow up to this. There's no other classic battle to be had.
Nope.
And all we have is Rhinar and Dorinthia, who are very particular play styles
Mhm.
that not everybody likes. And
No.
then on top of that, just whatever that card is they printed for Dorinthia that people are just buying these things
Oh, the
for.
singing steel blade.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
that was just a mistake. Like, why did you print a so powerful card in this intro beginner package?
'Cause this makes it
I
sell. It makes it sell. That's Yu-Gi-Oh does it. Yu-Gi-Oh prints cards in their
Well,
starter
why
decks.
didn't they give Rhinar one then? I guess they got that one where you block and you look at the top card. That's pretty good, but still, it
Yeah.
feels like if you're trying to get new players into the game, but you're making a new player set that is more attractive to players who already play the game,
Correct. I understand that.
missed the boat there.
Yeah.
And all right, so we'll stay in the Blitz deck realm. I
Okay.
think Outsiders might be a good place to start.
I think so. I think it's very physical damagey.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got the physical damage. First set in a while, we don't have arcane damage.
Yep.
No weird talent stuff that adds another layer of complexity. And, there's a little bit of keyword nuance you got to figure out, but it doesn't seem too bad. It's like stealth. It just says stealth. It doesn't really do anything. It just interacts with other things.
Correct.
So that seems pretty good. I haven't checked out the Blitz decks. Have you checked out the new Blitz decks?
They were playing them last night. I didn't get a chance to go into them, but the people I've talked to have said these ones are much better when it comes to competitive viability or synergy with itself.
That's great.
So I've heard good things so far from locals. I haven't cracked any open myself. I'm probably going to be doing that at some point to get the goodies inside. And most of the time, I'll buy them and then give them to new players or set up new player learning events like that. And
Nice.
then those are real easy to hand out because it's in a professional little box.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the real selling point is that professional little box. People are like, oh, perfect. I can grab something. I can go ahead and I can play it. So it's really good for, I think, quick grabbing people.
Yeah.
Like quick, like, oh, I'm at the game store. Let me just grab this real quick with my friend. We can do something. All right, cool. Now I have that small intro versus CC decks where that's like buying a whole commander deck and not knowing what commander is. It's a much bigger hurdle.
Yeah.
I think.
I could see that. I mean, I was thinking about this, and I do think Outsiders is a better starting place for those Blitz decks. I think even for like limited as an introduction, Outsiders seems like a good spot.
Yep.
I do still wish that we had like a intro starter deck with CC decks.
Yep.
I don't know why. It's like then they have a deck that they can take to armories. Most armories, I think, are classic constructed. So like
All depends on region. I have found every community is different.
That's
I know
fair.
San Diego, big fan of CC, a lot of CC players, but there also is a small Blitz community that's starting to emerge who like playing more Blitz events because
okay.
they can get home faster. It's quicker. They still get to play Flesh and Blood. They still get to use the cards that they bought. So I think you'll see throughout as it's growing a changing landscape of what people's favorite the format is.
Yeah.
But Blitz, I think, is the best intro place at this moment because it's less overwhelming.
That's true. Yeah, and I guess we do have history pack Blitz decks coming in, which will be really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, when I started, we got the original starter decks, and it had a young hero, and it was like, if you want to play a shorter game, just flip the hero over and play 20 health with a CC deck, and like
Oh, man,
you
yeah.
still, like the power level's not crazy because it's an intro deck.
Yep.
But it's a shorter game, so you can kind of like learn a little bit faster and iterate on like how you're approaching it, and then you just flip it over. And for me, it worked really well. I was like, okay, cool. Like I can kind of take it at this beginner level, but I'm still seeing the same play that is like the standard format for better or for worse. Like that classic constructed is it. It's like almost every major tournament is classic constructed.
Yep. The proper one. Yep.
So, to me, it seems like a missed thing to not do that. And then when they do that, they have a full deck. It's easier to go, in my mind, it's easier to go from a CC starter deck to a Blitz one.
Okay.
Because they're just like, hey, take out, the third copy of each one of these cards, you have a Blitz deck.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least in my mind, that seems like a better solution. But I understand that, it's smaller, it's probably cheaper that way.
Yeah.
But I will try it again. But in the past, I even tried teaching a friend Classic Battles. That was even hard. Just trying to explain all the attack reaction stuff for Dorinthia.
Steps and everything. Yeah.
it was just like, oh, well, yeah, this isn't easy.
No.
I can't just explain it. It's like took us like an hour and a half to explain the game, play one game of like Blitz, and it was like
Yeah,
this
it's
is
just at that point you could have played like a whole board game, and
yeah.
then at that, definitely understandable. I think more learning tools would be helpful. I know, and before like Magic products, they have cards or little pamphlets that help explain the process a little more. So it's less of you being the friend rambling on about your favorite game, and more of this person being able to have like something they can actually read and follow, and reference to. So I think we need some more of those things, like some intro tools, and just to help ease people in and they can reference to.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, even just having like the Ira decks more available all the time, like let people just order Ira decks, like
Yeah,
sell them for
print
like
those.
$5. Like I'd buy 10 just so I can have them give them out to people. You
Yeah,
know, like
yep.
they're a nice intro. They're basic. I think
Ira's not OP.
yeah,
Yeah, Ira's
not
good.
anymore.
Not anymore. I guess yeah. Back in the day, she was a.
Back in the day, she was terrorizing us in Blitz. But yeah, so I don't know. That was just something I've been thinking about. I personally have struggled trying to introduce it to people because even if you know people who like games, it's a weird, huge jump to TCG. You know,
Oh, a
like,
competitive TCG
yeah,
at that. Where
exactly.
yeah.
And it is competitive. Honestly, that was going to be like the third topic I had thought about, but I think we've talked enough. But the fact that it is so competitive, so even just going to your armory is tough. I mean, I don't know, Southern California is special. Everyone here is like on the top 10 list, it seems like. So,
It's definitely very intimidating, even being a player who knows what they're doing coming out here to these events sometimes. I know there's a lot of players who sometimes don't show up to AG events because they're like, oh, I don't think I'm ready for that kind of pressure and something. And it's not pressure we put on people from our side or from the another player side, but the pressure internally that builds when competing. Some people can't necessarily handle that. And that's fine. I've run events for maybe like 5, 6 years now, and I've seen many different people come to events, and I've seen people come in straight nervous, or like just shaking, just nervous to even talk to people. And I've seen people come to events like they've been here for 20 years, like so. Every person's different. They take their pace in coming in, but it's always great to be more welcome, be friendly, be about the experience, and less about necessarily the game, and be and just inviting and welcome,
yeah.
and have the game just be that medium in which you can laugh through, not necessarily make it the whole existence of hanging out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And for all of that, I do feel that Flesh and Blood has a very inviting community.
Yep.
Whenever we have new players, especially if it's like limited release stuff, like we're playing draft, we're just like, here, I have these cards. You just take all these cards,
Yeah.
and they're just like go home with like a box of cards, basically.
Oh, we've had people be like, "Stop! I can't. I feel so bad. These are probably worth $20, $30.
Tens of dollars.
Like it's nothing to us. Like please take it. Be one of
It
us.
costs
Have
more to
some
keep
fun.
it in my home than it does to give you it here. So.
100%. It takes up way more space, man.
But yeah,
much
so
space.
I'm hoping to I have dreams of introducing some friends through like Outsiders Limited, but it's a big ask. It's a lot to explain all the things to them,
Yeah.
and then have them build a deck. But we'll see. We'll see if I get there. But I don't know. I think some better classic battles and these HP decks. I'm hopeful that they are helpful
Yeah.
in providing a better starting point for people to get the basics down and then build from there. Because it's just hard when like you're just diving too deep into it right away.
Correct.
And you're like, I am managing multiple kinds of resources that are like actual resources and other like more conceptual resources, and like it can be a lot.
Yep. It can be a lot. Especially when you're a wizard player and you love managing those things in your head, and you're trying to explain to people the rambling of the void, and it doesn't quite translate.
I would never introduce a new player to Wizard.
That's like your main class. You're like, don't do it. I've gone off the deep end.
Look, just because I like it doesn't mean you will. I've learned that a lot in my life. So but yeah, we'll see. I'm not totally written off new player products, but I really hope we see some more classic battles. I hope we see more kind of blitz decks and even some starter CC decks as well for people who want to jump into that format, because why not support both main formats?
Why not?
All right, well, that's it for now. We'll take a little short break. So we'll be back with the semifinals. Sorry, that was just a very short round.
No.
Kano doing Kano stuff.
People. That's what happens when you don't
Bring one
your
AB to a
null rune. You disrespect wizards. They're gonna AB check you. There's always gonna be one in the bracket. AB checking.
That'll be me at Armory, but not here. You can always be safe from me at the AG Open because I'll be up here.
You have to hold it back up here.
Just talking mess about other people. All right, so we'll be back in a few.
All right, bye.